Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, the latest look at a Microsoft Teams contact center. Aside from discussing the options for integrating your contact center solution with Teams and the benefits to do so, we will be showing you the latest native Microsoft Teams contact center from Enghouse Interactive. I'm very happy to welcome Anna Stokes, Director of Product Management at Enghouse Interactive, who is joining us from New Zealand. So that means that you are quite a few hours ahead of us here in the UK. So in that case, good evening, Anna. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you, Astrid.
Also part of our discussion today is Dave McDowell, Senior Technical Consultant at Enghouse Interactive. Dave will be able to answer specific questions that you might have with regards to the updates that we are about to present. My name is Astrid Pocklington. I'm a marketing manager at Enghouse Interactive, and I will be your host for today's webinar. Let me start off with a few housekeeping announcements. This webinar will be recorded and made available to you via email afterwards. You can ask questions via the chat functionality within GoToWebinar, and I will quickly explain to you how to do this. All you need to do is click on the little orange arrow in the control panel. That will expand the control panel, and you simply scroll down to the questions section, type in your question and hit send. We will allow plenty of time for your questions at the end of our presentation. So before we start, I would like to share a little bit of background with you about the rising usage of Microsoft Teams and its enablement for the contact center in particular. We commissioned some research with Contact Babel in January 2021, which found that over 90% of the UK businesses surveyed were already using Microsoft Teams. However, only 53% of the survey respondents using this solution do so not only for communication within their internal teams, but also for external customer-facing contact, whether for voice, chat, video, or messaging. So obviously that was over a year ago, and since then the adoption of Microsoft Teams, as well as what's technically possible in terms of contact center integration, have come a long way. So it would be really interesting to get a quick idea how common the integration of Microsoft Teams within the contact center already is by asking our audience. So for this, I have prepared an audience poll question, which I shall be launching now. So you should be seeing the questions and the options on your screen right now. The question is, have you already integrated Microsoft Teams with your contact center? If you could please select one of the following options. Yes, and we are very happy with the outcome. Yes, but we are not seeing the benefits we had hoped for. No. Or we are planning to do so within the next 12 months. So if you could please take your pick. Okay, I will give it a few more moments so that everybody had a chance to vote. Okay, then let's take a look at the results. Okay, Anna, what do you think? Are you surprised by this result?
Yeah, I'm not overly surprised at Astrid. I think the majority of customers that we speak to are using Teams already for collaboration, or are planning on looking at Teams as an option when they're moving away from their legacy PBXs, which they're planning on doing in the next iteration of turnover. So look, for anybody that said no, they're still on this call and they're still really interested to hear what's happening with Microsoft Teams and what's happening with third parties like ourselves integrating to Teams for calling. So not shocked at all, and I could see you know, the 35% that are planning to do in the next 12 months, they're probably using Teams already for collaboration and are excited to see what they can do for calling.
Thanks, Anna. And yeah, without further ado, I shall be handing over to you so that you can continue with your presentation.
That's great. Thank you, Astrid. And thanks everyone for joining us today to hear a little bit more about the progress that's been made by Microsoft and partners like ourselves natively in this space. Firstly, a little bit about us. So the Enghouse Contact Center, I believe, is the industry's most comprehensive offering. It's available today in cloud, on-premise, or hybrid deployments. And our contact center applications with true omni-channel capabilities are foundational to providing our award-winning solution. We then have our wraparound of core solution elements, providing the most commonly requested fully integrated capabilities, including things like self-service, call recording and quality management, attendant consoles, outbound communications, analytics, and video collaboration. But then we have our supporting practices, and this leverages over 35 years of expertise to really properly assess your needs, propose the best solution for you, and implement it as efficiently as possible following industry standard processes. These practices include things like knowledge management, survey management, audio branding, and AI insights. Finally, we also have established strategic relationships with third-party providers in order to provide our customers with a really simplified approach to offering CRM and workforce management interop, the full package. We have been partnering with Microsoft to bring a best-of-breed integration to customers as far back as the LCS days in the early 2000s. Now, over that time, we've worked with their R&D and design teams in the Microsoft Redmond campus through their Technology Adoption Program, or TAP for short. Now, this gives us a direct pathway to ensure our requirements are understood by the Microsoft devs, the ones that are building the APIs used to integrate third-party software to your team's experience, software like our contact centers and our front-of-house consoles. Since its first release in 2017, Microsoft Teams has enabled businesses to shift successfully from on-site to remote working, and now in our post-pandemic normal of hybrid working, which is a combination of on-site and remote. For the first time, contact center agents can be both remote and fully connected to the whole business, wherever they are. Customer journeys really are becoming more complicated, and first call resolution is considered critically beneficial, and Microsoft Teams has removed many of the historical barriers to delivering the outcomes that customers are looking for. For instance, a unified communications solution like Teams can much more easily support the level of collaboration needed to solve complex queries than your traditional legacy telephony platform has ever been equipped to do. It does this by uniquely connecting frontline agents with the middle and the back office. Agents can see who is available and then have the option to send a background chat while still speaking to the customer, with the next available step being to simply connect the customer to a subject matter expert via a conference or a transfer. And all of this allows agents to successfully complete their jobs more quickly and easily than they've ever been able to do before. And I'm going to show you this in action shortly. When you implement a Teams-enabled contact center, you're taking advantage of the best of breed of two world-class systems, Microsoft and Enghouse, built to interact seamlessly together. Incorporating the superior collaboration tools that Teams offers, presence and availability, workplace chat, video meetings, shared document storage, all cloud-based, with quality contact center and reception solutions like Enghouse's, you benefit from a working environment that unites your entire business behind your brand. Customer satisfaction and worker empowerment go hand in hand to reduce attrition rates on both sides of the engagement. With an integrated contact center solution, you'll be enhancing your Microsoft Teams platform with specialized CX features such as dedicated agent and supervisor functions, intelligent omnichannel routing, comprehensive performance and activity metrics, quality coaching, and so much more. On top of that, we can expect that with Microsoft continuously working on maturing their APIs, more third parties will be able to seamlessly integrate to Teams, offering customers high-quality technology experiences using best-of-breed products built to take care of the job. As I mentioned earlier, this technology is available today in a SIP deployment and also natively using the Microsoft APIs. This simple diagram shows the SIP deployment that has been in market for a couple of years now. We here at Enghouse have hundreds of customers successfully enjoying this experience in market today. This deployment is enriched with the native visibility for staff presence, giving the contact center agent instant and real-time visibility of where all of their back office co-workers are located, as well as the ability to have the two UIs seamlessly shown as one, with the Enghouse Touchpoint UI within the framework of the Teams client. Now, with native, I have a little video here to show you, and it's going to show the differences in the experience of an example of what this looks like firsthand. There are no changes to the presence functionality, which is already natively integrated to Teams. On the calling side, the benefits of moving to native Teams calling integration are mainly in the infrastructure, simplifying the migration even further and providing more connectivity options for our customers. Functionally, using the Microsoft Graph APIs for calling will be similar to the SIP integration we've had in place from the beginning. It will simply continue to improve as the Microsoft APIs mature. Calls are all controlled and held efficiently in the Teams cloud. So each call is not tromboning on a second SIP trunk out to the contact center. And there's no need for a session border controller or SBC. The outcome is improved quality of service and elimination of infrastructure overheads with the associated reduced network bandwidth requirements and, of course, costs. Now let's have a look at a natively integrated contact center in action. So this is your Communication Center Touchpoint UI. This demonstration shows a call coming in and being accepted by an agent. The caller is interested in visiting Orlando with his family. Once the agent finds out the specifics that the customer actually wants to visit NASA, she realizes that she can offer the customer a much better experience by connecting them with a specialist located in the back office. Just wait for this to cycle through. Now the agent can search for anyone in the business, in this case the person they're after, and see real time if they're available to connect using the Teams presence natively through the Graph API. So we're showing you a contact search right now. They're looking for the specialist for NASA, located somewhere in the business, somewhere in the world. And we can see here integrated presence from Teams. So she's connected to the back office person, introducing the caller here, introducing the fact that they want to go to NASA, and asking if we still have a special available on that. In this instance, she does a supervised transfer, introducing the situation and preparing them to speak to the customer before connecting the two. The agent can then drop out, completing their wrap-ups, and of course, productively moving on to the next call. I'll just let it show the wrap-up screen there. All of this UI is your Touchpoint UI, and you can see that it's sitting inside the framework of the Teams client in this instance. Finally, if you're a business who's already using or wishes to use Microsoft calling plans via PSTN, then moving to native integration for calling allows you to do this for your contact center as well as the rest of your business, something you're unable to do currently using SIP. And agents do not require a phone system license, which I'll explain more when I discuss the requirements shortly. This very simple diagram shows Microsoft Azure Bot Framework, where the Teams native PBX implements queuing, announcements, and call control. There's no SBC or direct routing required, but it can be used if needed. and Microsoft calling plans are supported. For announcements, the bot framework does all the playing, DTMF, and recording of prompts, so there are no announce ports in the traditional sense. The announce port business logic is embedded into the Enghouse Teams PBX hosted in Azure. This implementation supports all of our traditional PBX features: enhanced routing, contact server integration, and QMS native recording. There are some features still outstanding on our first go-to-market for native. Among them are redundancy, supervisor monitoring, and console. Now, some of this is just work to be done on the Enghouse site, and some are still waiting on API and bug development to be completed on the Microsoft side. An example of a Microsoft one is that transferred calls do not forward to voicemail. This means that Enghouse won't be releasing console in our first native go-to-market. We're working with Microsoft to get that rectified. If you are interested in moving to Teams native for your contact center experience, reach out to your account manager and we can work with you to ensure the environment is ready to meet your individual business needs, so we will be successful. You will be required to have an Azure tenancy, calling plan or direct routing, and Microsoft licensing. Each dialable queue, both external and internal, needs a Microsoft Teams phone resource account license. As we said, agents do not need a phone system license to receive calls from bots, which is from queue. But an agent may need a phone system license for other reasons, like direct routing or making outbound calls from Teams. And on the contact center side, you'll need a Teams native PBX license. As you've already seen, the Teams Contact Center experience offers you the choice of having your Enghouse UI embedded as part of Teams, or if you prefer, you can have a side-by-side experience. And as mentioned, whether you're using the traditional SIP implementation or you're moving to native for calling, the Presence integration leverages the native APIs so you can see who is available in your business in real time. So what's coming next? You may have heard the term Azure Communication Services already. These are another set of APIs offered by Microsoft, the same set of APIs that they use for their Dynamics Customer Service Center. This set of APIs are to be used if you are not using the Teams client. It lets you use an ACS client instead. By integrating to ACS and offering a hybrid approach, we've worked out a way to plug some of the gaps in the Graph API that's in market today. ACS allows us some true first-party core control that the Graph API simply doesn't, ultimately giving you, the customer, a better experience. Now, for some time, Enghouse has had Microsoft native compliance recording in market, but it's only one option of several available for you to choose from today. Enghouse compliance recording using the Microsoft compliance recording APIs allows for configuring, managing, recording, storing, and analyzing your team's communications. This gives you, the customer, 3 options to select from when choosing your recording method. That's indirectly via the contact center integration, which is best for on-premise solutions where queued calls only are to be recorded, and this supports stereo recording. The second option is indirectly via the SBC with Teams direct routing. This one's best for PSTN call recording, supporting on-premises or cloud, and supports stereo recording. And finally, we've got directly via the Teams Compliance API. For front office, back office, and internal call recording, it supports mono recording only. So for stereo, you will need to use a CIPREC compatible SBC. And for this one, the QMS must be hosted in Azure. We're certifying this deployment now with Microsoft, and it should be available any day now. We also have integration for Microsoft Azure speech-to-text transcription. Now, this gives you automated quality management and service optimization. You can really, truly discover what your customers think about your organization, your products, your services. You can search conversations for topics of interest, search for keywords, competitor names. You can analyze the content and flag predefined terms, and then use the text analytics with interactive dashboard to display keyword heat maps with multiple language support. That's all we've got for you today. Shall we see if we've had any questions come in, Astrid?
Yes, good idea. Thanks, Anna. The first question is more about the advantages. So a person was asking if these enhancements help their organization deliver a better customer experience, and also what it does specifically for their agents in terms of interacting with customers.
Yeah, I think the main benefit of Microsoft Teams is it really destroys all those traditional silos that used to be within the contact center. For years and years, the contact center was almost a separate part of the business, with very limited integration to the rest of the business. And there's so much knowledge in the rest of the business. The contact center does a fantastic job at fielding customer queries, but they can't know everything. And the ability to be able to tap into all that knowledge within your business seamlessly, easily, and while you're still on the call with the customer, be able to provide a first call resolution to the customer by either gaining the information yourself through a chat or providing the customer with an option to be transferred through to somebody in the back office. All of that really sets your business aside. And in such a competitive market that we're in now, those little changes make all the difference. So I think by opening your business to using a collaborative tool like Teams, and then integrating it into the contact center experience, you're really giving your customers a far better experience. That in turn makes your agents happier people. So if you can keep your agents happier and with you, then we all know what it costs to replace an agent in the market today. It's expensive. So you want to be able to keep your staff as long as you can. And by using this kind of collaboration, integration, it really does help your agents to remain happy.
Thanks, Anna. Sounds like a win-win situation in terms of delivering a great customer experience and a good solution for your agents and your business. I've got loads more questions. Uh, I'll read them out one by one. So, what makes our platform the most comprehensive one on the market?
We have a tool for almost any communications requirement that you've got today. I'm yet to find one we don't have a tool to answer. Enghouse has the most diverse set of available options and features available to you today. You can be in any environment you choose to be. So whether you want to go completely cloud, or whether you want to be on premise for still, or whether you want a hybrid of both, we can suit that for you. So the extent of the feature set that we have available, as well as the options that we give the customer to suit their needs and not try and pigeonhole the customer into where we would like them to be.
Thanks, Anna. Next question, does the solution work with Operator Connect? Are there a list of Microsoft Teams voice providers that can integrate with the solution?
Yes, it works with Operator Connect, so Native works with Connect. For the second one, there is, I believe, there's a list available on the Microsoft website. I don't have the link to hand though, but if you do a search, it will come up.
Okay, thanks, Anna. Next question, can the native topology still work with direct routing so calls are recorded natively, etc. for QMS?
Yes.
Okay, short answer there. Do you use an inbuilt dashboard for call queue activity, or is there an integrated interface for other BI tools to surface the queue data?
So all of our contact center tools have inbuilt dashboards. We also have the ability to share data. So it is really dependent on what you're looking for. If there's an element that's not included in the Q stats that we provide today, we could work with you on the options of how to get that available to you.
That sounds great. Can your contact center make outbound video calls with Teams?
So it's on the roadmap. Currently, you can't make a video call from within the Touchpoint UI out natively.
Okay. What about Teams with Operator Connect integration? I'm just reading it out here. I see you mentioned direct routing mostly. Are your product offering only available in a direct routing architecture?
No, so there's no direct routing required if you're going to go fully native. What we're saying is it can be available if you want it to be available. So if you already have an SBC you want to continue to use, or if there is a PSTN requirement that you need direct routing for, you can use that with your native implementation, but none of it is required. You can use calling plans coming directly into Teams Native, and no SBC is required and no direct routing is required.
Okay. Does the Enghouse Contact Center integrate with Dynamics CRM and the Dynamics voice channel?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Contact center reporting is always a major problem with what you get out of the box. How does your reporting differ?
So that's a good question. We've got a couple of options available today. We've got our out-of-box contact center reporting. We also have a new reporting engine that's being built as we speak within Enghouse. So it's a brand new analytics business intelligence engine. It's incredibly customizable. And we are integrating our contact centers to it as we speak. So that should be available in the next few months. If it's of interest, then I highly recommend you get in contact with your account manager and they'll be able to show you some, demonstrate some of the availability of what will be coming your way on the customizable dashboards and reports.
Okay, there's still loads more questions coming in. I hope we're going to have enough time. Is this solution supported on Ribbon's SBCs on their cloud redundant SBC platform?
I want to say yes. I'm going to pass this to Dave to keep me honest.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of being supported on any particular SBC, it depends which model we're talking about for implementation. I mean, if we're talking about a SIP solution, then yeah, it's about just having the SIP trunk from the SBC into our server. But on the native, as Anna was saying, in many ways, we don't really care how the call arrives into the Teams, into phone system. So as long as the call can reach that bot, that could be direct routing from any number of supported SBCs. We are controlling the call from the bot and using the Graph API in phone system. So the answer is yes. But in terms of which particular model of SBC, etc., it doesn't really matter in terms of how that call got there from our perspective.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Next comment / question. In the video, we can not see the search by skills. What is supported to search for skills for people in the back office, i.e. who are not really defined as agents? Do you need a custom attribute with the keyword or a LDAP integration?
I could take that if you like, Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what we have is a component called Contact Server, and Contact Server is a corporate directory that the agent is actually hitting when they do that search. Now that is populated from Active Directory, So it would have the normal sort of attributes that come through from AD, their name, their department, maybe job title. It's going to be very much dependent upon what's in Active Directory to start with. But yes, there could be other attributes put into their AD that we can synchronize, into our contact server that could be almost any sort of basis. It could be a skill, it could be other information about them. So we can do custom mapping of AD fields to fields within our contact server, which then all become searchable over and above the standard AD information.
Thanks, Dave. We also had a couple of questions with regards to where recordings get stored.
So recording storage is dependent upon where the solution is deployed in the first instance. So as Anna said, this could be deployed on-prem, it could be in a partner data center, or it could be in Azure in public cloud. So for example, if we're doing native call recording, i.e. through the Graph API, that's the audio capture is happening within Azure. So therefore, it's a matter of deciding as an organization where you want to keep your recordings and how long you need to keep your recordings for. So you might want that on high speed storage in Azure for the first week, or whatever your requirements are, but you then might archive to some sort of lower cost blob storage in Azure. Or we have some customers who have a requirement for data sovereignty reasons or whatever, where they need to bring those recordings within their sort of network perimeter. So at the end of the day, within QMS, you can decide where your immediate short-term recording requirement storage location is, and also where the longer-term storage and archiving of that data is. So there is, again, it comes back to what Anna says, we can suit the customer requirements if there are any specific ones around that storage location.
Okay, and related question here, are there any limitations when it comes to archiving calls?
No, it's just a matter of storage, how much storage is provisioned, what the retention is. We have some customers who are just recording for training and quality purposes, who might only have a few month retention period, and then others in financial services, etc., who might have 7 years plus. It's just a function of storage versus retention period.
Okay, and are we able to do video screen capture for quality management?
So Anna, I believe this was a new one in QMS, was the recording of screen shares, for example, within
Yes.
within
Yes, that's
Teams
absolutely
meetings.
right. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So we can record the screen share. We can't record the video at this point. So I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but when you are on a video call, when the agent does the screen share, we can record that part. There are some interesting dynamics of recording the video at this point that we're working through, and that will come in one of our next releases.
Right, thanks, Anna. Another question, which vendor provides the IVR capability?
I'll answer that. It's native to the platform.
Yeah.
IVR is part of Communication Center. So, I mean, we characterize it in two different layers. We have a thing called auto attendant, which is the basic call steering, press 1 for sales, 2 for service, and that's always been a standard part of Communication Center, of the standard setup of being able to do that call steering and digit capture from callers. And then we also have the capability for doing transactional IVR as part of the platform as well. So this is sort of multi-step database dips and identification verification, self-service, etc. It's a native part of the platform.
An example of what we were referring to before, of having all of your communications requirements managed through the one Enghouse platform.
Sounds great. We've got a few more questions coming in, but I would say those might need to be looked at specifically. So I will promise you we get back to all of you. We won't leave any questions unanswered. But also looking at the time, I'd say we've now almost reached the end of our webinar. So before we go, I would like to make you all aware of a new guide that we are about to release specifically around today's topic. The guide is called the Connected Contact Center Native Integration with Microsoft Teams. I will be sending you all a copy of this guide as soon as we are ready together with the recording of today's webinar. So I would like to thank Anna and Dave for this interesting and engaging presentation. It's been a real pleasure listening to your insights and following your demonstration.
Thanks, Astrid.
And of course, also a huge thanks to our audience for joining us today. I hope you found it worthwhile. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.